Shane fell faster, but Ilya fell harder. I think in the beginning of this relationship, we saw Shane come into the situation with his heart on his sleeve, really. We saw him fall head over heels for Ilya, and we saw that, unfortunately, those feelings were not reflected on Ilya's part. I think that he really cared for Shane, but due to various factors in his family life and, the way that he grew up and his culture and what was at stake, he was not ready to show Shane that same kind of emotion as yet. And so we saw Shane hurt. We did, especially in the elevator when he said we didn't even kiss, right? And when he didn't return the text for 6 months, we saw that. And then time marched on. And within the years that they were texting back and forth, their bond got stronger. We're just talking about the friendship aspect. Communication got easier. When you get more comfortable with somebody, when you're having conversations and you can laugh and joke around, it makes it easier for you to let your guard down. And so we have years passing where they're constantly texting. And so what's going on with Ilya now is that he is becoming more comfortable. He's letting his guard down. But at the same time, Shane is building his walls up because, let's be honest, yes, Ilya has feelings for Shane, but he's still sleeping around with a bunch of women. He's still being reckless, right? And so Shane sees this. Shane has experienced the hurt. And so his walls are going to be built up. And once Ilya starts to get vulnerable, he's able to now invite Shane over to his house, not to some hotel, some seedy hotel, but not seedy because these folks got money. You see him inviting Shane over to his home. You see him, as we saw, and we just see the tender moments, that tender side of Ilya that we had never seen before. You see him begging Shane to stay. It was so cute when he was like, stay. Oh, that was so sweet. You see him begging him to stay, and you see him watching him while he sleeps. Now, let's be real. That's intense. And then he's pretending that he had just woken up, but he's watching him while he sleeps. You see him giving him his clothes to lounge around in, making food for him. But I do think that in that moment, when Shane asked him if he would cook for him, that's when he should have said, yeah, simple. That's all he had to say, yes, so as to not scare Shane, slowly start telling him the truth, even if it takes 6 months to come out with it, And so we see them sitting on the couch having conversation, and the conductor of this, the driver of this is really Ilya, and just the sheer sweetness that he displays in this episode is beautiful. And how beautiful was it when he said Shane's name, when he peeked and Shane said Ilya's name, his first name, when he peaked as well, instead of the Hollander and the Rosanov. But that's what scared Shane because, you have all of these different sweet, soft relationship aspects all in this one day. Does he want to get sucked back in to hoping only to have Ilya turn around and do the same thing? Just abandon him? No. Is he ready for what it could mean if they do fall in love? No, he's not ready for that. So all of these things are scary to him, right? But I think chief among them is definitely not hoping, not putting yourself out there again for Ilya to just rip your heart out your body, And so we see Ilya after Shane has his little freak out, and he's panicking, he's nervous, and you can see the desperation on Ilya's face, even though he tries to mask. But it broke my heart when he says Hollander, Hollander, But the primary reason why I say that Ilya fell harder, and it's not to discredit Shane's feelings and saying that they are vapid, or they're surface level. That's not true. They are just as deep. But for Ilya, I feel like it's a crash, It's like a heavy hit to the ground type of fall because it's had time to accumulate, those feelings, that friendship. I mean, it's been years in the making. It's been such a long build-up, in the way that he feels about Shane is solid. He truly cares about Shane, and I love when Shane won the cup and you see the smile on Ilya's face. Oh, he looked genuinely happy for Shane. And I love that. He is crazy, madly, insanely in love with Shane. And I understand Shane's hesitancy. I understand his fear. But it doesn't mean that Shane doesn't love him back, This episode was my favorite episode so far. There's only 2 episodes left in this season, and it is so unfortunate because this series has taken off. It's beautifully done. I love how close it is to the source material. But one thing I hope that they don't go into Scott and Kip next episode, because we only have 2 episodes left, man. We can't be focused on 2 other characters. Like, I don't mind that they mention them because whatever they do is important to the decisions that these characters, Ilya and Shane, make going forward, right? I'll say that much. I don't want to ruin it. But yeah, man, they cannot have a full episode with Kip and Scott with us only having 2 episodes left. Hopefully, it's just about Ilya and Shane. I saw some stills of the Florida scenes, which I love. So that means that we're going to get the Florida scenes. So I'm happy about that. But yeah, this episode was awesome. I loved it. Oh, also, during the club scene when they played that song, All the Things She Said by Tattoo, right? I had that album back in the day. They are a Russian girl group, and the song and them and their dynamic and everything is so fitting for this show. But yeah, this episode was definitely my favorite so far. And until next week, I guess. Talk to you guys next week. Bye.